Hello everyone and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me as always is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. Thank you for being here, Jacob. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I got a new, exciting, fun show for you today.
Oh, well, as long as it's new, exciting, and fun, I want to hear it.
It's none of those. Okay. It's called Archaea.
Ooh.
So the show is about a space archaeologist. Her name is Dr. Nyanna Muller. She is a new archaeologist. She's a very curious but short-tempered individual, incredibly intelligent, but she's not really acknowledged for her skills.
She's getting in all the fistfights with all the bones. She's so short-tempered. She's getting into fistfights with the dinosaurs.
She gets very frustrated very easily.
Can we have her get in a fistfight with a pile of bones?
It's not a particularly funny show. But I guess there could be some funny ones.
That bone said something mean about my mother.
Shut up. Alright. So, Nyanna is chosen to go with several other archaeologists on a mission to an outer rim system called GEO. G-I-O. So essentially, the way travel works in the system, in this universe, is that you get on your spaceship, and you go into what's called a barge, or a warp barge, which is like kind of like a barge when you're going across like a lake or a river or something, or like a small body of water. Like you put your car on, they bring you across, you drive off. It's like that, but it's for warp travel because a small ship can't warp in this universe. Well, just the engines, the engine's huge to have, and so it's not practical to put on a small ship because it would be your entire ship.
I would love it if there was one character who had a warp ship, but it was like all it was an engine, and then there's like one 5x5 bedroom. That's it. Yeah.
Great. So they're going to this Geo, which is a frontier civilization, which means like essentially it's like the Wild West. But in this civilization they found like old ruins for a previous great civilization.
Aliens.
And so we got like Wild West people hanging out with ruins of some great civilization.
Yeah, like aliens. I'm gonna say alien. Is it aliens? Or is it...
Well, yeah, I mean it's aliens. It's like an old civilization.
Or it could be future people.
Can you just let me fucking say the pitch, Charlie?
Sorry.
Thank you. So she and her robot surveying companion, Cicero, are given a ship and loaded onto the warp vessel that takes them to Geo. The warp vessel will return to pick them up in 10 years. So this is they can't leave. They're there for 10 years. There's no way out. They just got to work for 10 years. Nyanna and the other scientists are assigned planets. So there's 10 planets in the system. There's 10 scientists. Each one's assigned to a planet. And throughout the beginning of this pilot episode, you're going to realize that Nyanna has a rival whose name's Edith. And Edith is like the cream of the crop for the class. She is, the most, she had the wealthiest parents, so she got the best, she had best education, she has the best gear, and she's like the unofficial leader. There's like a sort of official leader who just sort of like is a contact, but he's old and not really good at his job.
It's like one of those. She's like, I'm imagining this girl Edith as like this person who had a sports car in high school. That kind of person.
Yeah, she's like a rich girl.
She's a real bitch.
But she's very smart. And she got the most interesting planet, which is called Nus. Nus is a city planet. I think it's called like an Ecronumopolis or something like that. I don't remember the word for it.
Something crazy.
That's like the theoretical word for it, but it's like an entire planet that's a city. And that's by far the most interesting planet because it's got like all the technology and stuff. Everyone wanted that planet, but she got it because the government picked her because they liked her parents.
Yeah. I have a question. Is the city what was it called again?
Nus. N-U-S.
Is Nus is it like the whole planet is a human city, or is the whole planet an alien city?
The whole planet's an alien city. All this is an alien civilization they found. And there's like small frontier towns throughout the system.
Yeah.
That sort of they interact with to get supplies and stuff. And so Nyanna, she's very smart, so she got in the expedition, but she was the least wealthy out of them, and you sort of had to bid on the planets. It was sort of like a political game to get like the better planets in the system. So she got the worst one, which is called Ants, A-N-C-E. And that's the last planet on the system. It's like Pluto, at the very end, but Pluto's not a planet, so not really. But you get the idea.
Neptune.
So, and sort of the first episode is her, we see the interactions with her and the other crewmates. We see like her getting onto her ship and going on the warp vessel, warping into the system, getting assigned her planet and being upset about it. And it ends with her landing in the local village on this planet, Ants, because she's gonna go there. She's gonna stay for a night and get supplies and stuff.
Sucks that she found it. After she took the journey.
Yeah, that's when she gets the worst one. So she's very disappointed.
And she's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna be here for 10 years. I can't even go back.
Yeah, and she's thinking like the whole time like, oh, like I'm gonna spend 10 years on a planet that has nothing on it.
Yeah.
Like that's her thought. There's just nothing there, so it's just gonna be a waste of time for me.
Yeah.
And she was hoping this would be like, you can see before she leaves, she was hoping this would be her big break into the.
Maybe she's got a locker. She's got a locker in the school. Because I don't know why, because I'm assuming it's not, but I'm imagining it all very high school-esque. She's got a locker in her school that's just got the Nos planet with like hearts drawn all over it.
Oh.
Like, and she kisses her fingers and like presses against when she closes the.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny.
Well, we're not gonna do that because it's not very high schooly.
Yeah.
And it's not like she didn't know what planet she was gonna get.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's sort of like
she just figured she'd get a shitty one, but
she thought she would get a decent planet because what she was told it's sort of like a lottery thing. So she picked like her favorite, and then they try to match you with the planet that's the best. Yeah. She thought, since I'm so smart, I might get Nuss, or I might get this planet or that planet, and she gets the worst planet. Yeah. Being Ants. And so the first episode, as I said, ends with her landing at the village, meeting some villagers, and spending a night at the inn. Second episode, she and Cicero find are on the planet.
Yeah.
And they buy some supplies, and they go out because they go to an inn when they're buying supplies, and or like a tavern. And the guy's like, hey, I mean, there's not a lot, but there's like this sort of alien facility you could check out, because she's trying to find out where she should go first. And the barkeep tells her about the facility, and so she's like, okay, buys her supplies, goes north to the facility.
Maybe there's only one visible alien structure on the planet. It's that one.
Yeah.
She's like, and it's maybe the town is on one side, like here, and the only alien structure is like 150 miles.
It's really far away, because most of this episode is the journey. And so she's going to that planet. We're going to have some cool like alien monsters she fights along the way with Cicero.
Is she fighting them, or is it going to be like more like, whoa, fuck?
It's not like, she's not like a
not gonna kill
fighter. She's like trying to scare them away.
Yeah.
Or like Cicero will deal with it. Because it's a robot, so it can like sorta, do stuff, but it's not like it's not like a fighty robot. Like it doesn't have powers or anything.
Mm-hmm. Is Cicero a talking robot, or is he? Yeah,
it's sort of her companion.
He's not an R2-D2. He's a C-3PO.
It's more of it's like C-3PO in the sense that it can talk.
Yeah.
But it's cool like R2-D2 and not lame like C-3PO.
Yeah.
I imagine it's kind of like BB-8 where it like rolls, because I like the idea of like the rolling body and like the head. I don't know how exactly to do it, but something like that.
Maybe this is very much just a random idea, but like if the planet's magnetized, or something's magnetized about the planet's soil, so he just kind of like has this infinitely moving magnetic sphere that he uses to like float slightly above the ground. Be cool.
Interesting. Maybe.
I'd
have to like see a picture of that to say yes or no.
Maybe they figured out like a infinite energy thing. And it's like you just do this and you bring him to this planet and he'll start up as soon as you bring him here. So Cicero works on this planet.
Well, I want to do that because he's going to be her companion throughout the travel and stuff. Because the Cicero is sort of like her only friend amongst the other crew. Like, no one else really accepts her besides her robot.
Yeah.
And it's not like she was assigned Cicero. you have to have like a surveying robot as an archaeologist. It's sort of a thing that they have. It's like a tool.
It's like how in Harry Potter everybody has a fucking animal.
Yeah, they all have the owls. But it's like
frog.
everyone has one of these surveying robots because it helps you do all like the technical stuff when doing archaeology.
It's like having a phone.
Yeah. And it's like her little, companion. And so they go up to this facility. It takes a long time to get there. And this facility leads them to an elaborate and incredibly advanced laboratory. So they're going to walk in, and it's going to be like this super dinky, lame facility, and she's going to be all upset and like kicking stuff around.
Maybe
Not being a good
one-
archaeologist,
yeah.
like, because she's pissed off. And she's going to kick something, and it's going to open like this crazy door. She's like, what?
Yeah.
And she goes down, and it's like this crazy large underground facility. Like all this stuff in this huge underground, massive laboratory and science structure. And most of the that half of the episode is going to be her exploring it. And it's going to end with her finding a storage room. And in the storage room, it sort of leads to like one part of the storage room. Like it's a long hallway, this massive storage room. And it sort of leads to like this ending capsule thing in the middle of the room, like this cylinder device.
Yeah.
And she like presses a button and it opens the cylinder, and there's like a little tiny capsule cylinder. And it's like very obvious how you open it. She like presses it, opens it, and it's like this little watch-like device, and it suddenly just grabs onto her hand and like clasps around her hand.
Yeah.
And she like tries, as soon as it grabs her hand, that's when the episode ends, right? So we see that, she's like, what? And then cut to black, end the episode. The next episode is sort of about how she's like trying to get it off of her.
Yeah.
She's like, how do I, what am I supposed to do with this?
Maybe it could be like, because I like the idea of, or maybe there's like all these signs around the capsule that's like alien letters, like
she
do
can't-
not open.
Yeah, maybe.
Not, we have like in subtitles on the bottom of the script on the screen, like she says, I wonder what that says. We have.
Well, I want to get there later because sort of one of the ideas I have is that she learns the language, like she figures out the language and is able to understand it.
Cool. And maybe
We'll get there. And I forgot to mention, before the episode ends, the last thing you see is it grabs onto her device, her hand, she's surprised, and you see a message on the screen. So it's like on her the back side of her hand is like a screen, and the front side of her hand is like just sort of a strap that goes around, and it's like tightened around her hand. And on the screen it says placement saved.
maybe the bracelet could be like it hooks on to her and like grabs on, and when she like tries to rip it off, it's like, okay, well, we can't let her take it off, so we're gonna like, maybe it like puts a drill or something in her, so it like she physically can't take it off of her hand.
Oh, we'll see. I was just saying it's like a very tight strap. I essentially, I just want it to be something she can't take off for reasons she can't explain. I don't want it to hurt her. I don't want it to like drill into her hand.
I don't know, it's alien technology.
Well,
Shit.
I don't want it to drill in her hand because it'll make sense later.
Okay.
So the third episode is about her trying to get it off, essentially. And she spends the day trying to pry it off, like in the facility, and then she like leaves the facility, tries to get like the people in the town
she
to
ties
pry it off.
To the hover. She drives it to the car that she took here, and she like gets what's his name?
Cicero.
To, I thought he said Socrates. Cicero to like, all right, pedal to the metal, buddy.
We can have a
Gas.
fun montage of like all the different
gets
ways.
Yanked her arms.
Yeah.
Yanked, she's like, fuck.
All the just like all the fun different ways she tries to take it off. Goes to the town. They have no idea what it is. They're like, I don't know, man. So she contacts the leader of his team. We'll say his name's
Lucas
Fee.
Bradley.
I want it to be somewhat spacey. I don't know. We'll come with it later. Doesn't matter. And so he's like, okay. He's like kind of lazy, and he comes down. He's like, oh, I can come down at the end of the day. And so she waits, till like the end of the day, and he comes and he is trying to help her take it off. And they're on his ship. Like, so she goes up because it's like she flies up, lands on his ship because he has like a slightly larger ship that other ships can land on because he's not
out
really
in
like
space.
he's not
On a planet, right?
he's not doing a planet thing. He's not like researching a planet. He has like the command job where he like he gets information from all the archaeologists, and he like is like their helper. So if they need help, he'll come and help them out. And so he's helping her, trying to get it off. When suddenly, his ship's getting like crazy readings, and they try to see, like, he runs away from her to see what's wrong, and she like runs with him, and they look out the big glass window on like the side of his ship, and they see the sun implode and become a black hole, and they get sucked in and killed.
No.
That's the end of the the episode ends with her eyes opening. So we see her eyes close as, like, you know, everything's destroyed. Her eyes open,
and
she's in the facility. It says placement saved.
And she's trying to pry it off or something.
Well, no, it's just that moment where it wraps around her wrist and she just sees placement saved.
Yeah. Maybe we start, like, when she dies and wakes up and the bracelet says placement saved, we have something happen, like, right after, like something falls off a shelf, or, you know.
Maybe she gets hit in the head by something.
Yeah.
So, a part of the ceiling
Cicero.
comes down and hits her in the head.
Yeah.
Because that would be fun for later.
Yeah.
And so she looks up, she's like, what? And then she gets hit in the head, and she's like, that's the sort of episode after that.
Like a tile breaks on her head.
Yeah, it hits her in the head. And that happens, you know, the first time. So it's not like a new thing. And so the show from there is her, like, realizing that she's in a cycle. She has a day.
Yeah.
Before she's sent back a time and the sun implodes. And this happens over and over and over again. It's kind of like Groundhog Day, except she dies at the end horribly in a black hole. It's like horrendously painful. And everyone dies in the system.
Yeah.
So the show is about her learning about this alien civilization. And so she first explores the laboratory on her planet, and then she's going to go to each planet with each scientist and, like, meet up with them and try to figure out what they've been learning and try to help them.
Yeah.
But it's going to continuously get set back. So she'll be exploring, like, going through her lab, like, learning everything she can, and then suddenly she dies because she only has a day. Everything explodes. She's like, damn it, like, I was getting somewhere, and then she has to go back to where she was. But she remembers everything.
Yeah.
So she knows what she needs to do next. She's only set back physically. She's still there.
And the robot doesn't remember anything.
Yeah. And we'll see, like, her being, you know, annoyed. But the thing is, the robot immediately will believe her. He'll be like, okay, cool, we're being set back. That's all right.
You're being sent back.
You're like being set back. And she just sort of has to, like, explain it real quick to him. And he'll help out. But, you know, there'll be jokes about, like, the way she continually, like, she'll go back to the same scientist. Like, the first time she goes back to the same scientist, she doesn't think that they don't remember seeing each other earlier. Yeah. And so she'll be like, all right, let's go to the facility. And be like, what are you talking about? Why are you here? Why are you on this planet? Like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, fuck, I forgot to... Then she has to explain herself. And they don't believe her. So she's like, she's insane. And she'll realize over time that she just has to, you know, lie to them and not tell them the truth because no one believes her.
Maybe she tells a scientist the truth. And they're like, lady, you've obviously caught the space madness, and, like, she gets put into a psych ward onto the ship, and she's like, the sun's gonna explode, you fucking morons. And then they're like, oh, whatever. And, you know, as they're talking about, like, oh, this crazy bitch, you know, she's crazy, and the sun's exploding in the background.
I kind of, instead of her being, like, crazy in the cell, I kind of want her to just be, like, calm about it, be like, just wait 5 minutes. Wait, she'll ask what time it is. And they'll be like, it's 12, and she'll be like, okay, so I only got 5 more minutes of this shit. And they're like, 5 more minutes? No, you're gonna be here for, like, the next, you know, we're gonna do a psychiatric evaluation soon. We got 10 years on this planet, so we can't warp you back, and all this stuff. And she's like, just 5 more minutes. She's like really chill about it because she knows she's gonna be sent back. And in the beginning, I want it to be like, each time it's painful for her, but over time she just gets used to the feeling of being killed by the black hole. So she's like, you know, not really annoyed by it. And I want a cool line when she's about to die from one of the implosions, and Cicero asks her, does it hurt? And she says, every time.
Like Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or maybe she gets shot.
Well, no, it's the because the sun imploding is the feeling she gets every single time. And Cicero's gonna ask her, like, as they're watching, like, the sun implode.
Oh, that's cool.
Cicero's gonna be like, "Does it hurt?" And she'll say every time.
That would be a pretty beautiful shot if we had them, like, you know, the end of Empire Strikes Back where they're all standing in front of the big glass window looking
Yeah.
at the galaxy.
That's what I want, like
Maybe,
that.
Yeah, maybe it's just their backs and Cicero. I'm imagining Cicero as like he's got like little blades and he can fly, and, you know, all this stuff. He's probably not that, but you know, and he's, you know, they're just standing there and they both, you know, bonded.
Yeah. Well, it's her robot companions. They're friends, and he's like, I was thinking he's like ankle high, maybe, like shin high, and we have this nice shot behind them. We just see their backs, and that's when we hear the line, and it's like this sweet moment as we see the sun, like as the black hole, or like the sun slowly implodes and becomes a black hole, and that's when, as soon as it becomes a black hole, that's when we fade to black for that episode.
And, you know, maybe our last thing is, or it could be like the flame of the sun is like getting closer and closer, and she looks over at Cicero, gives him a little wink, and then that's when, you know, everything is exploded in white light, and we cut to the next day.
We could, well, see, that's not, maybe, I don't know.
I'm thinking about like the end of Rogue One, you know? When they all get eaten by that giant explosion.
Yeah, but see, it's a black hole, so it says, I don't, the flame thing wouldn't work out. They have to be, you know, sucked into it. I was thinking they see the sun implode, it becomes the black hole, and that's when we cut away, because we see the blackness, and that's when it fades to black. But we could do something with the wink for another one, because she dies a lot.
Yeah.
And from there, you know, she goes to each planet, sees each scientist, and slowly learns about the civilization and their technology. She's going to learn their language over time.
Like, she's putting all this stuff together because she's the only person who thought, hey, maybe everything's connected.
Yeah,
everyone else was like, everything's its own planet, its own thing.
Well, they sort of realized it was this massive old civilization that took over their whole system. They realized it was very advanced, but they never left their system.
Yeah, they never realized that, like, all right, maybe there's a
Or maybe
key.
they did leave the system and they had, like, frontier outposts, but this is special because they finally found the home system of this species, and they think it's really great.
And maybe the thing around her hand can act as, like, some sort of key or something to open up some technologies on other planets. Not, like, all the time, because I think that would be stupid if it was just like, yeah, this is the universal thing.
Yeah, no, I was just sort of thinking it's the save your place device.
But I think it would be cool if there was like there was a temple of you know something on a planet, and she went there and like you know put her hand up against the thing against the wall, and maybe like the aliens, their fingers were all like 6 inches long and they only had 3 or something, and so she has to like match her hand up with their weird hands, the things on a wall, and like opens up, something like that, you know. Because it'd be cool if she's.
Well, maybe, but the device is a special thing. There's only one of them, and I'll get to explaining that in a second. So she'll go through. She'll probably go to Nuss first, and you know we'll have like some nice banter with her and her rival Edith. And from there, she goes there first, obviously, because she's like, well, this is the capital of this civilization, and so they might have information. And she'll go to like their old Capitol building and like search through, and she'll find references to this project that she translates as displacement, and she like names her device the Displacer. And from there, she like slowly learns about how this works, and she'll like go from each planet to sort of understand the project more better, the displacement project, more better. Yep.
More better.
And eventually, she'll come to understand that the device essentially sends her consciousness back in time a day to the moment it saved last. And it does that when she dies. So when she dies, that's when it happens. And because the black hole happens, that's why she's being sent back in time. So she wouldn't be sent back in time unless she died. It's not like every day she gets sent back in time. It's because she dies. That's why she's sent back. So if she dies in some other way, which we're probably going to happen a few times, like she dies because, you know, she got mauled by something and she wakes up.
By a real bear. By a regular Earth bear.
Yeah.
In space.
But she'll wake up in her thing. And we'll have, you know, some annoying scenarios where it's like she's on an asteroid base and her oxygen gets punctured. She's like, this is gonna be a really painful way to go.
Maybe she does that thing that's like in The Martian. Do you ever see The Martian?
Yeah.
Where she like, it's like, my oxygen's about to go, and she just like pokes a hole in her hand of her suit, like uses it to like push herself into a sun. She's like, wee.
Well, yeah, we could have some fun moments where she gets trapped, and she's like, either I wait here for 12 hours, Jesus,
Fucking hell.
or I just, you know,
She just like
die.
She
And
runs
like,
as
rips
hard as
this-
she can into a wall. She's just trapped in like a 12 by 12 cell. She's like, and she just like,
And like dying becomes a way to like, you know, give her more time, because
Yeah.
she's like, well, I don't want to waste time by standing here, because I don't. She you know, she feels every second of it, so she, you know, doesn't want to be there, and she wants to get out of this loop as soon as possible.
yeah,
And eventually, she's going to find out that the reason she's being, like, the sun implodes is because of the device. Because it requires so much energy
yeah.
that
Maybe there's some.
it has to destroy the sun to power the device. And it causes the black hole because it's sucking up the energy of the sun so much in, like, one point that it causes the black hole. I don't really know the real science behind
Maybe
black
there's
holes, so
a
it doesn't matter.
transmitter that's like that the alien civilization millions of billions of years ago is put into the sun.
Oh, no, we're getting there, Charlie.
Oh, okay, sorry.
There's a base in the sun.
Oh,
They built a base inside the sun that's like resistant
Yeah.
to, like, you know, the sun. It's like in the center of the sun. And the only way to get there is these awesome like teleporters they have. They have like miniature black and white holes. So the black hole you go through, you come out through the white hole.
Yeah.
And they have little tiny ones, and that's how she teleports in and out. And she finds that in a secret, even more secret lab inside her original planet of ants. And then she'll find this at like the end of the show. Probably takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
And so she'll go through that teleporter. She'll get to the star base in the center of the star, at the center of the system. And that's where she finds out that the project, you know, is destroying the sun. And she'll be like, okay. And she learns how to turns it off, teleports back to her planet of ants. And this happens like in the beginning of her cycle. So she's only like 2 hours into the day.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And so she's done. She's broken the cycle. She stopped the sun from imploding. And in the process, she's destroyed that base with all of its records and archives and stuff. Because she's
The
like...
one in the sun?
The one in the sun, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that was the only way to do it. And by, you know, dismantling that system, the civilization put in like a failsafe. Because they, you know, were wary about this like system. So it would just delete all records of this project. And so it destroys all the records and destroys the watch. And so there's no evidence that she was ever in this loop. And so that's sort of the arc of the series, is that she thought she made this amazing scientific discovery about this civilization, but all the evidence is gone about what she did, everything she struggled through.
Yeah.
And sort of the arc of her character is going from, you know, needing to find like that self-worth.
Needing approval.
And she wants approval from other people.
Yeah.
And the end of the show is sort of about her realizing, like, I don't need the approval from others. I know I'm great at this.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty good. I like that.
the
It's a
show
good
sort of
message.
ends with, despite not having that great discovery, her understanding of this civilization puts her as the by
Foremost
far the
expert and level.
of this home system, and she gets promoted to like the head scientist, and she's doing all the research, and she's in charge of everyone because she knows the language within a day. And people are like, she's a genius, how does she know this? She built like a translator already. She found this like crazy underground laboratory. She knows all this stuff. She knows about every person's planet in like an hour. How did she do this?
Really good at her job. Maybe.
And you see her like going to all the different systems and showing all the other scientists like how to get to like the cool secret stuff in their planet. And
You just gotta kick this part really hard.
yeah. Yeah, and so she you know, becomes a famous archaeologist.
I like that.
And that's my show. It's called Archaea.
I like it. It's a good idea. I do have a few things I would add,
What's
or suggestions. Maybe the star base that's inside the sun is not only full of all of this information and the thing that blows up the sun, but it's also full of, like, you remember in Interstellar when they had all of the genetic materials to create the new race of human beings, and they were taking it to new planets.
Yeah.
So maybe this starbase has like all of the genetic material of this alien race.
Yeah.
And there's this one guy who's like, he's part of the alien race, but he's mostly like robotic now.
Yeah.
He's been alive for millions of years.
He's like Mr. House.
He's like the caretaker, and he makes sure that nobody touches any of the technology or anything.
Yeah.
That's attached to their civilization, but he's been trapped inside.
So they could have a cool sci-fi battle at the end.
Yeah, maybe they have a cool sci-fi battle, and maybe she's like, or maybe he's like, he's become like this genocidal maniac in the intervening years, and he's like, now that you finally reactivated the teleportation device that allows me to get out of this fucking hellhole in the sun.
Yeah.
I'm going to, recreate my people, and we're gonna destroy your civilization or whatever.
Yeah, because they're like a conquering species or something.
Like, and
they were like super belligerent to all others, and that's why they have like all these ruins throughout the galaxy. Mm-hmm. And I think it'd be interesting not to mention sort of how they died.
Yeah.
Because that would be cool for like a season 2
mm-hmm.
to like figure out why this species was destroyed, and we could come up with a sort of great barrier that they hit. Should figure that all out.
I figure, and one thing that I think would be cool, because you said there were different alien species on these planets.
No, it's all people from their civilization,
mm-hmm.
so it's all like humans living on these planets. So in this universe, it's only humans. They're the only space species, and this is the first and only alien civilization they found.
Uh-huh.
And people live there. It's like a frontier town, but it's like the Old West. So it's like people that went out there to settle.
Yeah, but there are alien beasts, right?
Yeah, there's alien beasts. Yeah.
Because I think it would be cool if...
It's not like sentient alien life.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you had those, like, alien monsters, and you had different ones on each planet.
Yeah.
And it was, maybe revealed late in the first season or second season that those beasts used to be, like, a sentient race. Like, each was an individual sentient
I don't know
race
if I want to do that.
that was, conquered by the
I got the idea,
aliens.
but I don't know if I want to do that, because I want them to just be like fauna and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't want there to be any sentient aliens. It's sort of like, the idea is old western town,
mm-hmm.
Going through the wreckage of people.
Yeah.
Of like a past great civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And adding like that element, I think might divert the story too much.
Okay.
Because then it's like this whole other thing. That's something you could explore, and like that'd be an interesting element for like another show, because that's too great of an element, I think, for this story. Because the sort of the center of the story is the loop thing, and I don't want to create too many different sci-fi elements that make it all too confusing.
Makes sense. All right. Well, I've very much enjoyed that show, Jacob. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And thank you, listener, for listening. It's what you do best. And if you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your dog. Tell everybody about the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast.
Or don't.
Or don't. It's really up to you.
I don't really care, to be honest.
Thank you all for listening. I've been Charles Hung Lung. I've been Charles Hung Lung. And this has been Jacob Gloth with Archaea.
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 Good thing you remember the name of the title.
Sorry, there's a...
Archaea.
Archaea.
All right, bye.
Bye.